from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is May the 31st, 2013, Friday evening, and tonight Swamiji will lecture on Viveka Chudamani. This is series 2010, class number 183. And now Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasyadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namam. Om. Eruditions to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Viveka Chudamani, verse number is 499. The topic is gaining profound insight into who am I. If you look into your mind and ask a question, what is the most important point, most important question that haunts you all the time? And that answer lies in very simple, I. That's why in English language, I is always put capital. Not in Sanskrit. However, if we have an iPad, I become very small. Think of enormous illusions that have evolved out of I. Firstly, to realize the mind doesn't have clear understanding what it is, though that is the only thing most important. The whole world means nothing unless you are there. Must relate to you in order that any experience may have any validity. And to just give you summarized version, for the I in every individual, three types of experiences are possible. Those three types are called lokas. The experience of objects of the world through your senses. And mind is involved. Mind, senses, objects. Gripped in that level, the general philosophy of life is eat, drink, be merry. From Kundalini point of view, the Kundalini is confined to the lower three centers. It doesn't go beyond the navel center. In this loka, that's the first loka. If you stay too confined to a loka, then you are loco. The second loka is your experience based upon mind, feelings, subtle vasanas, desires. That brings a bigger world for you. It gives you gain, it has positive and negative implications. Negative, even though you have all the physical comfort and all physical forms of success, lots of money and all that, your feeling is injured. And all that moves away. You are in a different loka. On the other hand, even though outwardly things may not be so good, but you may have a joyous heart, a bigger heart, a wonderful feeling. You are in a higher loka. That happiness at that level cannot be described in the terms of happiness in the first loka. How much of this is equal to that level of happiness? Even a drop of the higher loka, the Sanskrit terminology, bhur loka, that's the lowest, gross. Bhuar loka, now that's where it's loka of feeling, sentiments, artistic talents, literary beauty, poetry, all that comes in this bhuar loka. Every loka is very big loka. Now comes the third type of loka. Your intellect is clear. Its clarity again is of different types. It can be clear in order to attain enlightenment. It can be clear to understand the world, have technical advancement, scientific knowledge, have the ability to give insight for technical progress, mathematics, science, the philosophy. That dimension puts you in a very high level. And the ideal of that higher loka, that's called bhur bhuva swar loka. The ideal is to have an intellect that goes after who am I, and allows itself to be transformed into intuition. So the ultimate climax of all loka experience is to have no loka at all, but just aloka, light. Aloka is light, just pure consciousness. Until you come to discover, realize that absolute loka-less state, you have to wander through the lokas. And lokas are not geographical positions somewhere in the stars. Lokas are there in your life, day-to-day life. If you wake up early in the morning with dejection and sadness, you find yourself. Or you wake up hungry and thirsty and desiring for wonderful things, the recipes that you have heard about. You are in Bhurloka. If you wake up with sentimental troubles, you are facing Bhuarloka. Or wake up with some type of mental excitement, you have resolved a problem, a mathematical problem, or any type of intellectual problem that you have been dealing with. Your intellect has clarity about understanding. So you are experiencing Swarloka. During the day, people wander. How much you are in a particular loka, that you have to decide. But you are constantly in a medley of the three lokas. as long as your mind is focused on ego-based goal, mind is focused on attaining things to make your three lokas happy. This entire process called pravritti marga. You may continue for many lives just having your goal, raising yourself to a higher level. But no matter how much you raise yourself, all these lokas are not reality, absolute reality. They are in the realm of Maya. They go on changing. So that point will be elaborated more and more. That higher loka is when Kundalini starts operating at the Agnya Chakra. But when Kundalini starts operating at the heart center, then you have Bhuvar Loka, world of feelings, sentiments. When Kundalini starts operating at the navel center and stays within that limit, then you are Bhur Loka, the world of very solid practical reality. And your mind has that subtle mystery and potentiality to enable you to accomplish anything you want in the terms of these three lokas. Want success in the material world, you want to have a qualitative type of heart and wonderful feeling and a literary inspiration, or you can want to have an intellect that comprehends not just mathematics, comprehends the minds, sentiments, people, the world, purpose of life. The whole window to Vedanta, scriptures opens. I will lead you now to a series of these statements from Sri Shankaracharya. Aropitam nashraya dushikam bhavet kadapi mudhairati dosha dushitai nadri karoti ushara bhumi bhagam marichika vari mahapravaha. That which is superimposed by the dull wits. Now these are superimposed, all the three lokas, by dull wits. Implying that it is not the reality. No matter which loka you are not settled. Everything is changing. You have more and more to attain. And all these are superimposed upon your, what you think of self. The idea, I will be happy if I have a lot of money, a good house, and wonderful possessions, recognition, fame, power, if I will be so happy. All this you are superimposing upon what you consider as the self. What you consider as the self is not the self. It's the ego within you. You are carrying a monkey on your shoulder. And looking at the monkey's face constantly, you just forgot about your own face. So if you want to think of your face, you always put the mirror and you are seeing the monkey face, not your own. You ask yourself, am I happy? You look at the monkey's face. No, I'm not. That's called upadhi. Upadhi is something you are not, but you are identified with it. Body, mind, senses, intellect, ego, all these are called upadhis. They are superimposed upon pure awareness. Just in the same way as a snake becomes superimposed upon a rope. Rope is so little harmless. Once snake has been superimposed upon it, you look at it, the rope, snake raises its hood, flickers the tongue, shows the fangs. And in your excitement, you can have a heart attack. The snake can bite you and kill you. Who did that? That which was superimposed upon the rope, not the rope. You are the rope. But don't feel it, you are being so downgraded. Illustrations are always very limited. You are as harmless. Not only that, you are the very foundation of all that exists. But all that exists through your mind, and all that you think of through your mind, and all the history that you have studied, they are all superimposed upon that. And that is what you are. Soham, that am I. Until you discover that and become completely immersed in it, with the dissolution of ego identity, like a river, until it enters the ocean, it has not attained its goal. That which is superimposed by the dull wits. So I've just explained things that are superimposed. The body, senses, pranas, mind, intellect, ego, all these are superimposed. And this effect of this superimposition is that everyone is experiencing a world process. The soul comes back again and again in the world, led by karma. But the most profound point about this, that no matter whatever may be the state of superimposition, the self in you, the reality in you, the real you remains absolutely intact. So, when you look at your mind and look at your experiences, don't get too baffled with the idea things have gone wrong. No matter how things might have gone wrong, you are safe and sound. In order to work with it, the scriptures have given you 3 stages, which I have told again and again. It's Dadaparinyaya, and I have to go on telling again. Deha buddhyatu dashoham. As long as you view yourself, you are a physical body. Always work upon the idea that you must do the will of God. You are. He is the master, and you are working as his instrument. Therefore, your focus is duties that have come to me. Am I doing them well? Opportunities God has given to me. Am I handling them well? The mind says, he has not given you good opportunity at all. Get involved with satsanga that tells you that everything that comes to you day by day is your grand opportunity. Adversity comes to you. Adversity is urging your soul to find a solution in a profound way. You grow by adversity. Adversity becomes your austerity. If you continue to have that sense that God is within me, God is directing me, God's love has never left me, that His name, if it is recited in the heart, it buzzes in the ears of God. And therefore, you have always a process of enrichment. You cannot just lose your time and just live in a meaningless way. So that first point, I am an instrument. That is the whole mantra for karma yoga. All actions as being done as an instrument of God. Unexpected situations develop. You must always understand the real string puller is up on the is God. So do not lose too much time in pointing fingers on others, but understanding the subtle purpose. All this again doesn't mean that you do not deal with your practical reality. Automatically you go on dealing with them to the extent you can. But deeper level, a sense of I am an instrument. It is by surrender to God that by His grace things are being done by me. It is He is doing it. There again, when things go wrong, don't point finger to Him. There is always exception to the rule. Only when things are accomplished well by you, that to become joyously, He is doing it. So, deha buddhyatu daso. Jiva buddhyatu danshaka. But when you come to with the identity with the mind becomes more predominant, and your attention is towards I am the soul. Soul led by karma from body to body. Instead of allowing your mind to be in a state of despair, soul, just so little, led by karma, so many karmas, what can I do? Astrologers can deal with only few karmas. Instead of that, allow your mind to develop a very simple understanding. Since I am a ray, I am related to God. God cannot leave me behind. Study the sun and the reflection. Even though reflection is far away, but the sun cannot leave it. And another point, therefore, the potentiality of the ray is beyond imagination. Look at a reflected sun in a jar. The reflected sun shaking with everything in the jar. But its potentiality is beyond the water, beyond the jar, beyond all limitations. Therefore, when you look at your body, look at your house, look at your country, look at the world, you are looking at the pot and the contents. But all this should not overwhelm you. You are the ray of God. Therefore, build up that type of mind that I am going to be free of anger. I'm going to be charitable as the waxing moon is up there, opens its heart and showers the nectar for all. I'm going to be as profound as the ocean. Just to understand I'm a ray of God is not an ordinary revelation. God who can create the universe in the twinkling of an eye. You are a ray of that God. So don't stay yourself exhausted by just looking at how you look in a mirror, but what you are. That opens the door to meditation, devotion, upasana. And the third one, atmabuddhya tavaiva tattvamasi. You are that. I am that am I. That third aspect is the focus here. But each level is being worked upon by you day by day. Karma, action. How should you do that? While you're doing your karmas, how to feel that you are in the hand of God and He is working through you. While doing that, to feel you and He are just the same sun up there, the same reflecting in the jar. The culmination of these three become integrated and culminate. That's the realization. That's the goal. A great flood of mirage water cannot wet a dry desert land. In that state of experience, when you have developed that identity, the revelation of the identity of your soul with God, with Brahman, all the lokas that I have been describing, they are nothing but mirage. Mirage with shimmering waters. But no matter how a mirage may appear to you, it doesn't wet the desert, not a drop. This has been the old simile. If the sages had at that time cinemas and projections, they would have used that. You see in a show, torrential rains, great flood. So many people are being devastated by the flood and hurricanes. And you are seeing that every day in your house. And touch the TV, not a drop there. All those are superimpositions. Adhyaropa. Just as mirage water cannot wet a desert land, similarly, all this experience that arises at the level of senses, at the level of your mind and sentiments, at the level of your intellect and ego, all these experiences, enormous experiences, shimmer and shine like mirage waters. They are all entertaining, they are all engrossing, they are all sometimes thrilling and sometimes neck-wrenching. But all this is a show. But in order to understand all this is illusory, is not a simple mental act. It's an act of integral yoga day by day. But it begins with your understanding. As it goes into your mind, you begin to work upon it. I'll just give you a little interesting folk talk. There is a saying among the village folk, when there is stone, there is no dog. When there is dog, there is no stone. A stranger comes into a village. Early, sun is not risen yet, and he sees a big house, and he wants some service with the rich family. But as he starts entering, and he looks through the leaves, a horrible dog, mouth open, teeth are shining, the tongue is flickering. And he becomes shocked by their presence. At that time his mind says, if there were a stone around here, I would have protected myself. But now I have no protection. This big dog is going to tear me up. But while he is doing that, a little wind blows. The trees that have been creating little illusion, they have moved away. Some light shines forth. I realize it's just a stone. You don't have to fight a stone to drive the dog. The dog is nothing but a stone. So see the two states. First, the state of fright, and the state of mind trying to get something to support him. The very thing that he is looking for support, of that thing the dog has been made of. The world that you want to run away from is made up of that very stuff, Brahman. You have two ways of looking at it. Looking at the world in a frightened way, saying, where is the stone? Where is that God? Who will help me? And revelation, all this is nothing but that divine self.